Okay, today we are going to learn how to build an allocation table in SysML v2. Today we're using Magic Cyber Systems Engineer 2026X, the release that will be available in November. We're going to be creating a new model, and we're going to be utilizing the simple vehicle model from the Appendix A of the SysML v2 specification. So I just want to show the allocations that currently exist. This is the textual notation of that simple vehicle model that we have in our samples available. So I've just done a keyword search. Utilizing the case sensitivity to be able to find everywhere where allocate is used. So we have 7 examples of where it is being used currently. So we can see that there are 7 allocations within this entire model. And then we can see in this table that we have here that there are also 7 allocations. Now these are unnamed. Not all of them are named, that's okay. If we wanted to put in a name, we could go and open up that simple vehicle model. Here I have it as a project usage, but we're not going to do that in today's lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're just going to back out of all of this. So now when we open up this model, it should be blank. Okay, so we'll save it here. If we wanted to create an allocation table, we could start from the textual notation, or we could go ahead and start from the containment window like we're going to do here. So we're just going to create a generic table called allocation tables, and we're going to refresh our textual editor so that we get this information. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some curly braces, and we're going to start. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to import some of our views. So we're going to do a private import, and we are going to do a recursive import of not one of the standard libraries, but one of the libraries that we provide with the tool, and it's going to be the ds views. So import ds underscore views, and we're just going to do a recursive import of this. We could keep this here, or actually we could go ahead and move it up simply like that, just a cut and paste. And now we want to expose the simple vehicle model. But in order to do that, we need to add the simple vehicle model. And we can do this by simply going into File, Use Project, Server Project, and then we can select the project that we want to use. In this case, I'm just going to use the simple vehicle model. I'm going to hit Finish. Okay, and now we can refresh this page. And we can see we now have access to this. We're going to repaste in because we didn't synchronize our textual notation. So I just repasted in that private import here, and then we're just going to save the model and we're going to reopen it. Because we've added a new project usage, so we want to reopen this model so that we can start manipulating and using that project usage. So now we're going to select expose and start typing, and it will autocomplete for us. I just click tab in order to select the simple vehicle model, and then we're going to do a recursive import. Okay. Now we don't want every single element, so we're going to go ahead and filter the elements that we need. We only want to use we only want to see allocation usages. So we have to type in the entire qualified name. So we're just going to do SysML, and then allocation usage, and then a semicolon. And now we can type in the rendering. So rendering. We want to redefine as table. We're going to treat each column as a view. So we're going to, again, we're going to redefine each one, starting with the declared short name. And this is based off of what is already available. So the first, out of the box, we have this declared name. So we're going to type in declared name. We're going to take this and we're going to set its multiplicity to 0. But we're actually going to use the declared name. So the one that we want to change this to is the declared short name. So this is the one that we don't want. And we also, this will save the order as well. So the first one where we have a multiplicity of 1 will be the first column. So I'm just going to copy and paste this a few times. And then I'm going to decide which of these columns that I do and do not want. So let's get rid of qualified name next. Then owned element. And documentation. And then we are going to use the declared name as our first column that we want to use. And then we also want to show the owner. So we'll pop this in here, owner, set the multiplicity to 1. And now we're going to have our first example of a more custom column. So these are just using the columns that pre-exist as a part of this, as the definition in here. So this allocation table is set as a generic table, and in this definition, we actually have the views already inherited. So that's why we can get rid of these. And so now we're actually going to set the source and the target for the allocation usages. So this procedure is actually documented. So if you go into Help in 2026X, Other Documentation, and you click on the SysML v2 plugin user guide, then it will pull up the documentation and you can do a search for custom columns and it'll take you right here. And then we can see that we have two different types of model-based columns. The first one is column by feature view, and this is the one that we're going to use, and the other one is by expression. So on page 352, we see our first example of this where we have the VCCU system behavior table, and we have a view called declared name, and then we're defining this as a core view, column by feature view, just like we talked about, and we are subsetting column. And under it, we put ref item, and then we redefine the column feature, and then we select the declared name from the from kernel core features. And so essentially what we're saying here is we want to get the declared name from kernel. So that's exactly what we're doing here. So it's essentially we're manually doing the same thing that it already does if we kept it the old way. But this is how you would do it. So if we want to change this to source, we would put source here, and then also here. So let's see what this looks like in the model. So I'm going to just copy this straight from here, and we'll go into the model, and I'm going to paste it in. and try to clean it up just a little bit. So here we go. So we see these core views. We need to fix this, and then we need to change this to source. No need to have this because there's no spaces here. So we can see we have a bug here. We're not a bug, but we're not able to access this. That's because at some point in the video we forgot to or the import statement got undone. So we're going to go ahead and redo that. So we're going to do again a private import, and we just want to do ds views. And now all of this begins to make sense. So we want to come on here and we want to, I'm going to go ahead and remove this statement, and we're going to change this to source. Okay, and we are good to go. Fix it up a little bit, and then we want to also do the same thing for target. So now when we synchronize, this should automatically update our allocation table to be exactly as we had it before. And we can see the 7 allocations again. So again, this was a real quick video on how to do allocation tables in SysML v2.